Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Pointless Top 10, a show where we make top 10 lists of the pointless things, where we fly and buy pointless statue in Booty Bay, because inside pointless things are treasure. Let's begin. 10. Number 10 is Groyat the Blind Hunter, and Groyat is a giant albino bat located in Razorfen Kraal. And it says here that it's speculated to be blind, as its name suggests, so it emits sonic pulses to detect trespassers and prey. And that got me thinking, are all bats actually blind? But I looked it up and it says no, bats are not blind. Bats have small eyes with very sensitive vision, which helps them see in conditions we might consider pitch black. They don't have sharp, colorful vision like humans, but they don't really need it. But anyway, more about Groyat. It says here in the adventure guide that after years of seclusion, a monstrous creature from deep inside the dark grotto emerged. This gargantuan bat continually feeds on the boar once named Agathellos the Raging, whose dark power was once fueled by continual consumption of bat guano. And if you don't know what guano is, it is literally the accumulated excrement of seabirds or bats, and it's a highly effective fertilizer due to the high content of nitrogen, phosphate, and potassium. And so yeah, I knew I wanted to put Groyat on the list because I always remember seeing him when I was doing RFK, or you know, the new RFK, not the old one, but it was always just really weird. You're going through this area with all the bats, and then you just see this giant bat like feasting on this boar. I don't know, it's pretty wild. So that's why Groyat the Blind Hunter is number 10. 9. Number 9 are the woodland bats, and the woodland bats are located in Drustvar. And I believe this is just an upgraded model of the old World of Warcraft bat model, but I really think they're great. I love them in Drustvar. I think they fit the zone really well, and I just think they did a really good job updating the bat model. I also wanted to take this time to do a few more bat facts, because whenever I do these animal videos, I love doing actual animal facts. I just think it's fun. So bats can live more than 30 years and fly at speeds of 60 miles per hour or more. In fact, it says that the fastest bat could reach speeds of up to 100 miles per hour, which would make it by far the fastest mammal on Earth. It also says that there are more than 1,300 species of bats, and bats are pretty much found everywhere on Earth. But I think my favorite fact, which is more of like a speculation really, is that bats sleep upside down, which a lot of people know, but scientists theorize that they sleep upside down because it allows them to easily escape from predators, as they can drop straight into flight, which I think it's just awesome. Like, imagine you're just sleeping, then all of a sudden you're like, shit, I gotta go. And you just like wake up and fly. You just drop into flight. Like, that's just so cool. And so either way, that's why the woodland bats are number 9. 8. Number 8 is Duskwing, and Duskwing is an albino bat roaming the area south of North Pass Tower in the Eastern Plaguelands. And Duskwing has been around since the start of World of Warcraft. In fact, they used to be an elite bat, then in Burning Crusade, they removed Duskwing's elite status, and then in Cataclysm, they reduced them from level 60 down to level 44. So Duskwing has actually been nerfed a couple times. And so the quest for Duskwing used to be called Duskwing, Oh How I Hate Thee, and it said, up until now, you've completed the missions I have assigned, even if not in the most timely manner. I suppose you think that you're ready for a challenge. Yes, yes, imbecile, perhaps you are ready for a more involved set of missions. The albino demon bat, Duskwing, roams the countryside just north of here. Track him down and destroy him. Return to me with a patch of his white fur and you shall be rewarded. And of course, this quest was handed out by everyone's favorite, Nathanos Blightcaller. And now, a similar quest is handed out by Corpse Burner Tim, which, what a name. And so yeah, over the years, Duskwing has been nerfed and hunted and just not appreciated at all. So you know what? Not anymore. Duskwing is gonna be appreciated. And that's why they're on this list, and that's why Duskwing is number 8. 7. Number 7 is Duchess, and Duchess is the bat companion of Dreadrider Cullen at Cullen's Post in Stormheim. And Duchess actually acts as the flight master, so you talk to Duchess, and then Duchess will fly you to wherever you want to go. And I just realized while recording this that Duchess actually looks very similar to the woodland bat, so I was like, okay, did the bats actually get updated in Legion? And now I looked into it, and it appears that the bat models got overhauled in patch 6.0.2, which would mean Warlords of Draenor is when they updated the bat model. So I guess that would make sense, because then Legion and BFA would all have the new bat models. So I think Warlords of Draenor is when these bat models came to be. But yeah, Duchess is pretty great. Also, it says here that during the beta, she was actually referred to as Batsy. So I don't know what got Blizzard to change the name from Batsy to Duchess, but I don't know. Somebody must have really wanted them to change the name from Batsy to Duchess. Which one do you think is better? Post in the comments section below, Duchess or Batsy. Personally, I actually like Duchess more. Not that it really matters in the grand scheme of things, but you know, we're just having fun. Either way, that's why Duchess is number 7. 6. Number 6 are the Spore Bats, and Spore Bats are flying creatures native to Zangar Marsh in Outland. And I would say that Spore Bats are probably the least bat-like creature on this list, but I mean, they're still bats, right? They're just like a weird type of bat, and so it says here that spore bats actually draw ingredients from the environment and combine them to form virulent toxins used in subduing the spore bat's prey. Spore bats are usually docile, but when they attack, their stingers wrap around exposed limbs and can even tear through reinforced leather like it's paper. This is because the entirety of their long whip-like tentacles are barbed. When some species of spore bat collapse, they release a series of spores which affects a variety of species and provides a short-term buff of considerable power. And so yeah, spore bats are just really cool, they're really unique, and even though they don't look like your stereotypical bat, they're still called spore bats, making them a type of bat, even if that might be a fantasy, fungal, unconventional version of a bat. So either way, that's why these spore bats are number 6. 5. Number 5 are the Fellbats, and Fellbats are a race of winged gargoyle-like demons. The Burning Legion breeds them as flying mounts for their soldiers, but many Fellbats have also been enslaved by the Illidari as mounts. And I really do think Fellbats look cool. They do have that gargoyle vibe going on. It really is like they blended a gargoyle and a bat together. Like you got the bat head and the bat wings, but then they got like these weird gargoyle bodies and they move around all weird, and it's like, I don't know why they have their arms wrapped up too, like they're gonna go play sports or something. Like wrap their ankles, man, you don't know what's gonna happen out there. And then we also have some Fellbats that are hanging up in this cave, because obviously we learned that Fellbats, well, not Fellbats, but bats hang upside down in caves. I guess Fellbats as well at this point. But what's cool here is that they have like acid or fell stuff just like oozing from their mouths as they sleep or like chill out here. It's just like pooling up on the floor. It's kind of crazy. It also says that their vision is primarily focused on magic or fell energy, and that their bodies stink of sulfur, so probably not that fun to be around. And then you have the little baby Fellbats, which it says while adult Fellbats have 2 wings, 2 arms, and 2 legs, their babies actually resemble normal bats, and you can see them flying around all over the place. So Fellbats are really cool. I like them a lot, and that's why they're number 5. 4. Number 4 are Crawbats, and Crawbats are these tiny little bats found in Maldraxxus that have bat wings and then just a big mouth. It's almost like there's no eyes, there's no nose, it's just a mouth, and it's got like goop and stuff dripping out of it. It's actually pretty freaky, but they're pretty cool. I mean, I don't think I've seen any bats or creatures like this in World of Warcraft. Like, the fact that it's just a mouth with wings is kind of insane, right? Like, I don't know how this thing functions. I don't know how it works. I guess we're in Maldraxxus. Maybe someone created this in the experiment in a lab and it just, I don't know, it just happened. I have no idea. But it says here in the pet journal, for a pet that's all mouth, where does anything it eats go? Maldraxxus necromancers have dissected many of these pets and have no answers. So even people in Maldraxxus have no idea. Also, it's kind of funny because they keep clipping into things. You can see here, they'll just like stop and then like go like and like freak out. So that's probably more of a Blizzard bug type of thing, but I don't know. I just thought it was funny. So either way, that's why the Crawbats are number 4. 3. Number 3 are Dreadbats, and Dreadbats are a type of bat found in Revendreth, and they are created in the same manner as Stoneborn, but lack their intelligence. Dreadbats patrol the skies of Revendreth, alerting their Stoneborn brethren to attack intruders, but they are more than capable of killing adversaries by themselves. With the Anima drought, the Venthir's dominion over the bats has waned. But yeah, I really just think these bats are cool. Like, they look like gargoyle bats. And obviously, Fellbats had a bit of a gargoyle look to them, right? But they were more like gargoyle demon bats with fell-infused energy. These feel like actual gargoyle bats. You know what I mean? Like, they've got that stone look to them, which, by the way, I mentioned Stoneborn earlier. It says Stoneborn are also known as gargoyles and are winged stone constructs who serve the Venthir of Revendreth as soldiers and guards. So that explains why they look like gargoyles, because they were created in the same way. But yeah, I don't know what it is. I also think they just fit this environment really well. I really like seeing these gargoyle bats flying around this gray, gloomy, dried out environment with rocks and earthy materials all over the place. I think they just fit this environment really well, which I think is the main reason that I like them so much. And so that's why the Dreadbats are number 3. 2. Number 2 is High Priestess Jeklik, and High Priestess Jeklik was the Zandalari High Priestess of the primal jungle god Hyreek, the Bat. Sent to Zul'Gurub to stop Hakar the Soulflayer, she was eventually turned by the Blood God and had to be slain at the Zandalari's behest. And I'm sure a lot of people have played Classic WoW and did Zul'Gurub back in the day before the Cataclysm remember High Priestess Jeklik as the Bat Boss in the Bat area. There's a bunch of cool stuff here, like these big bat totems, which I think are really cool. This might be my favorite thing in the area, just these big totems with bat wings. But then years later, they redid Zul'Gurub and she was no longer here. In fact, you can't even get here if you go into the dungeon now. It's all blocked off with like a big log or whatever. And so there is a quest where you have to destroy High Priestess Jeklik's body so that Zanzil can resurrect her. And so I feel like there was somebody here trying to do that, but they just stood around here like... I don't know what they were doing. They like took their shirt off and they had a torch. I don't even know if they were doing the same quest or if they were just confused. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. And so yeah, even though High Priestess Jeklik isn't really in the game anymore, I was like, dude, that's the Bat Boss. I gotta include the Bat Boss. And so that's why High Priestess Jeklik is number 2. And number 1 is Hyreek the Batloa, and Hyreek is located at the Sanctum of Midnight in Nazmir. And not only is Hyreek the Batloa, but this whole area in Nazmir is insane. Like, there's bats flying all over the place, there's bats hanging on stuff. This is like, it's like Bird NATO, but with bats. Like, it's crazy how many bats are here. It just looks really cool in general. But anyway, a little bit of lore. It says here that like the other Loa of the Gurubashi tribe, Hyreek was held in Zul'Gurub against his will during the time when the Hakari were attempting to resurrect Hakar the Soul Flayer. However, in Battle for Azeroth, Hyreek would become corrupted by Gahun and the Blood Trolls, which is why they're here, and subsequently slain by an adventurer, you, with the aid of Jo Chunga and his poison at the Sanctum of Midnight. His death was mourned by the Zandalari. In fact, it says here that there is a little shrine dedicated to Hyreek on the Isle of Night in the Echo Isles, and the Darkspear leave offerings for the Loa's blessing on safe passage under the cover of darkness. It's also likely that Hyreek was inspired by the Mayan bat god Camazotz. And so yeah, I was like, you know what? I want to make Hyreek number 1. They're a literal bat god, they're in a cool area, they've got a lot of cool lore, and that's why Hyreek is number 1. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Pointless Top 10. If you want more Top 10s, you could check out 10s from last week, or you could check out 3+ hours of animal facts if you want to hear about more animals. Also, consider liking the video and supporting the channel on patreon.com/Crendor or by becoming a channel member. Okay? Okay. See ya.